When it comes to home insurance, Geico works for you. And since I'm the Geico Gecko, I'm here working for you too.
Hey, Gecko, can you record my voicemail greeting?
No problemo. You've reached the amazing Rita. She's probably busy right now teaching music theory to neighbourhood birds, or telling a total stranger how they can bundle home and car insurance with Geico to get the discounts they deserve. But rest assured, she'll get back to you once she's done brightening her little corner of the world. Did that sound all right?
Nailed it. No notes.
Let Geico work for you. Get more with Geico.
If I think about it, what I do right now to make a living, and I work in wrestling.
Yeah.
I take pictures of wrestling, and I work for Shangri-La. I do content for Shangri-La Records. I'm doing like dream stuff, and I made it already. So I feel like I've been enjoying the last couple of years of not putting so much pressure on myself.
Hey, this is Dennis Black, and welcome to the Black and Wyatt Records podcast. This week, Mike McCarthy talks with J.D. Reager about his lifelong involvement with the Memphis music scene, including his 3 solo albums, work with Snowglobe, and producing the Subteens LP, among others. J.D. talks about photographing Memphis wrestling, co-founding Rock for Love, and recording with legendary Memphis drummer Ross Johnson. J.D. is also archiving and preserving the songs of historic Memphis punk band the Modifiers, of which J.D.'s father was a member. Now, here's the Modifiers with a song that a younger J.D. inspired called Monkey Bear.
Morning I sit around thinking, what am I gonna do with the rest of my life? Am I gonna sit around here drinking, or am I gonna go find me a wife? What am I gonna do with my life? Am I gonna go out and give me a job? No, I guess I'll just beat my wife. Thinking about the rest of my life. Am I gonna sit around and thinking it up? Guess I just had to make love to my wife.
This could be our last episode.
This could be it.
Podcast. Maybe we'll come up with a different
I
name
could be
for
the
it.
tripping daisy of this podcast.
What's that mean?
Weren't they the last band to play the antenna? They were like the band that closed down the antenna because their guarantee was too high and they didn't draw dick.
I thought G.G. Allen was the ruination of the
See,
antenna.
I thought it was Tripping Daisy, but what, I could
Well,
be
it probably
be
was-
misremembering.
Are they dismal? Were they?
I don't like them.
Okay, then they're dismal.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
What you say goes here, JD. Good.
I don't. I don't like to harsh anyone's trip. So I'm sure there are plenty of people out there who love Tripping Daisy, but it's just, you can't count me among them.
It sounds like a holdover from a period of time where I would have discarded my taste in them. and the ilk.
And the band that they subsequently became, the Polyphonic Spree, is, to my ears, even worse.
Oh, I thought you were going to say close personal friends of yours now.
No, I hate them.
It's
even
like you
more.
hate one band, but then the other one becomes like close friends. I don't know. How's the coffee?
It's great. It's fantastic coffee. Thank you very much.
Dennis
You're
makes
welcome.
He makes a good batch. So, Dennis, you're on.
Yeah, wow.
I can hear you.
I'm here.
No more cranking it up. Folks, we're here with J.D. Reager.
Indeed, you are.
It took long enough.
Well, that's on you.
I guess so. I knew the accusations would come fast and furious because I've been on your show 4 times.
4 times, as we've established.
But don't you know the rule? I have to be on everybody's thing 4 times before.
Okay.
I guess you didn't know.
Surely didn't I cover something for the flyer too? Doesn't that count?
The first time, I don't know if this really brings in the listeners, but the first time that I recall meeting you was at a Memphis Music Commission meeting where you came in writing for the flyer.
Oh, yeah.
And you wrote the trash piece on the commission.
I know, I didn't. It wasn't. It was a truthful piece.
Sure. Hey, I'm not saying it was bad. I'm just and it probably.
Were you on the commission or were you just there?
I
Okay.
was on the commission.
Do you remember? I quoted someone anonymously in that story. Do you remember that? And that was one of the things that I remember. What was her name? Johnny something?
Walker.
Yeah.
She was the head of it.
Okay, yeah. I think she got mad because I quoted someone anonymously, an anonymous source in the piece, saying that the commission was dysfunctional. Mm-hmm. And I did that just to protect who said that, of course.
Mm-hmm. But it wasn't her.
No, it was Sherman Wilmot.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Well, you can always depend on a quote like that from Sherman.
Yeah, I don't think it's any big deal to say now that it was Sherman who was also at the meeting.
I need a dysfunctional quote from an anonymous source. Let me call Sherman.
Yeah.
No, I mean you were right. You were on target, and
I would love to have been able to write a great piece about that.
I know, wouldn't it have been great?
I would love to be able to tell you that I went on to work for the Memphis Music Foundation and that everything went super great over there. Mm-hmm. I would love that.
Right. I went to Church Health Center today for a checkup. I got to say they're getting it right. They do it right.
I'm cool with Church Health.
Yeah.
You know, my wife worked for Church Health for like 10 years or something, and I did a benefit show for Church Health for longer than that.
Rock for Love.
Rock for Love.
Okay, so how did that get started? What year?
I don't remember. I remember that we did 11 years. I think we stopped in 2016, so just working backwards, probably like 2005, 2006, something like that.
Why did you stop?
We just felt it had run its course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was a nonprofit on top of a nonprofit.
Well, when we start, kind of. I mean, Rock for Love was just it eventually became an official programming of the Church Health Center and then later just Church Health.
Right.
But when we started it was just kind of a grassroots benefit show that we gave them the money at the end. Mm-hmm. But then it sort of became integrated into their fundraising programming.
When Church Health was in the little housing area on Peabody.
And then we helped open Crosstown. Also, I booked a lot of the entertainment for the grand opening of Crosstown, including the headlining performers.
So I feel like...
But not very many people know that.
Well, you toot other people's horns, but maybe you don't toot your own.
Yeah.
That's why we're here.
I guess.
And you said...
I'm fine with it.
You told me you had nothing to promote.
I really don't. I'm not working on any new music.
Right.
I am still doing episodes of the podcast. In fact, I taped a new episode of the podcast this morning.
Which is called what?
Back to the Light. Mm-hmm. You can get it anywhere you do podcasts.
Who'd you talk
Backtothelight.net.
Okay. Who'd you talk to this morning?
A producer in Nashville named Fred Mullen, who has worked with all kinds of crazy people.
So you have the far-reaching tentacles.
Well, I met him through the flyer. He produced an album on Lamont Dozier from Holland Dozier Holland.
Yeah.
And I met him and Lamont Dozier for breakfast and wrote a big story about it in the flyer. And then, we kept in touch because he's a really nice guy and he's got a book out now. So, yeah.
Does this go back to the Monkees?
Well, we did talk about the Monkees.
Okay, because my ancient memory.
This producer, Fred Mullen, he did the music for Daydream Believers, the VH1 biopic on the Monkees that came out in the late 90s.
Okay.
So there is a Monkees connection there.
How many Rotten Tomatoes does that have?
I mean, it's not...
Is it good?
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
What?
The music's really good.
When did you discover the Monkees?
That was my first favorite band. So, I really don't remember...
MTV doing the marathon?
I guess. My first concert was the Monkees at Mud Island in 1986. I was 7.
Same year REM played Mud Island.
Yeah, I wasn't hip to REM yet. I did see REM later at the Pyramid in the 90s.
I saw REM at the Orpheum in '84. That was crazy.
Supposedly, Peter Buck from REM stole tubes out of my dad's amplifier at the antenna. But, that's one of those unprovable things.
Well, because the Modifiers opened for REM?
Yeah, they played with REM many times.
Okay.
Yeah.
But not at the antenna.
At the antenna.
Several times? Okay.
And played with them in Athens also.
Oh, so they were hooked in.
I mean, I think it was just like a reciprocal thing, like you played with us in Memphis, we'll play with you in Athens kind of a deal.
Who made that connection within the bands?
I have no idea.
Wasn't Snowglobe in Athens at one time?
Yeah, they actually Snowglobe started in Athens.
Yeah, that's
and then
we
they were all Memphis people that were in Athens at the time, and then they moved back.
Yeah, we had them on the show, and they gave some of that history. We had
that's cool.
Brad on.
Which Snowglobe? Brad?
Which Snowglobe?
Dr. Brad.
Brad, yeah.
Shout out Dr. Posty.
I
got him kicked out of Harding Academy.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
He could have done it on his own, probably.
Yeah, probably. Sorry, I just heard the coffee cup.
That might be a very positive thing.
I mean, considering that I stayed at Harding Academy for the duration and that I don't consider it a very positive force in my life. Sure, he probably ended up better off in the deal.
You guys complaining about your Harding Academies, and I was doing good to get out of a county high school in Mississippi.
Yeah, but you didn't have to go to chapel and, take tests on the Bible.
There's this little thing called Vacation Bible School.
And you had to do that?
Well, I did it until I told my parents I wasn't going to do it because I blamed God for my grandmother's death.
Well, if you believe in that the Lord controls all things, what other choice do you have?
How many topics have we already covered here, JD? We went from the Monkees to God.
That's an easy transition for me.
So, what's
3 out of 4 monkeys are with God right now.
Monkey see, monkey do. So, what's your favorite Monkees album?
Headquarters.
I thought you were going to say Aquarius, Pisces.
Oh, that's up there.
Yeah.
But Headquarters is my favorite. I love the Nesmith songs on there in particular, and I like that it's really the purest album of them playing all the instruments themselves.
Which they fought for 2 albums, 3 albums?
Yeah, 2. There are 2 albums before Headquarters. Headquarters is the third full length.
Do you have that big, cool deluxe book that I've heard about? It's full of like Monkees photographs. And
I have a Monkees, biography book with lots of cool photographs. I don't know if it's the one.
Well,
you're
there are
thinking
2
of.
that I've heard about.
I don't know.
What about the movie Head?
It's okay.
I thought little parts of it were pretty good. It didn't hang together.
I like a lot of the music.
Well, I don't think it's supposed to hang together, is it?
Yeah,
Well, anytime you make a movie.
If it's got Frank Zappa in it, I don't think it's hang together.
I don't think the agenda was sort of to kill the Monkees image as it was, and they certainly did that. Yeah,
right.
They didn't really leave much meat on the bone for anything after that.
What came first, Head or Headquarters?
Oh, Headquarters for sure.
Okay, Headquarters came first, and then they just simply said, okay, now we're going to call this Head and use the songs from Headquarters?
No, it's unrelated music.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, completely unrelated music.
I'm totally...
Head, the movie and soundtrack is several albums later.
Why would you have Head in both things then to invite confusion?
Dude, you're asking the wrong...
No, I'm asking the right person.
I don't know if they intended a connection between the two. I sort of doubt it.
So... Head was released in
1960s, something.
Well, say it wasn't released as late as 70, was it?
No, they were done by 70.
Okay.
Or they were maybe a duo by 70.
As many people were.
Yeah.
I was just thinking about how Zappa says goodbye to the Monkees and hello to Alice Cooper probably within 6 months or something, which is kind of crazy. Well, MTV did do a marathon in 1986. It was around New Year's Eve. Maybe it was 85 into 86. And I hadn't seen those shows since I was 4 years old in 67, when I guess they were first being broadcast. I don't know if they were on NBC or what the thing was. So this gigantic leap from, the 80s revisiting the 60s and knowing what I knew about rock and roll at the time and being in a punk band and all that, it didn't really catch me like it would now if I had access to the TV show.
Yeah, I got into the music first. I think, I discovered my dad or mom's, I'm not sure, Best of the Monkees record. Mm-hmm. And I wore it out before I ever even saw the TV show.
Is that the green cover?
No, it was blue with them all standing in the cover with a car.
Right.
It was one of the later reissues.
Do you think it was self-conscious on their part to go, okay, we don't know how to really play our instruments. We're gifted in many ways, and in 3 albums or so we're going to demand our rights, but we're going to ride this gravy train.
I think that was kind of the idea that, they were sort of promised that eventually they were promised that they were, or Mike thinks they were promised anyway.
If you're shopping while working, eating, or even listening to this podcast, then you know and love the thrill of a deal. But are you getting the deal and cash back? Rakuten shoppers do. They get the brands they love, savings, and cash back. And you can get it too. Start getting cash back at your favorite stores like Levi's, Plow and Hearth, Adidas, Sephora, and Neiman Marcus. Stack sales on top of cash back and feel what it's like to know you're maximizing the savings. And it's easy to use. And you get your cash back sent to you through PayPal or check. The idea is simple. Stores pay Rakuten for sending them shoppers, and Rakuten shares the money with you as cash back. Download the free Rakuten app or go to Rakuten.com to start saving today. It's the most rewarding way to shop. That's Rakuten. Rakuten.com.
Whether they were or they weren't.
Right.
But Mike and Peter were both really good musicians before they joined the band.
I did have a chance to see Michael Nesmith in Chicago. I think it was in the 80s.
Oh, that's cool.
He was touring solo.
I saw him with the Monkees several times, or with Peter, and then I also saw him just with Mickey after Peter died. But I never saw him solo. But I do love especially his 70s material. I love his solo work.
Oh, my friend Sam Baer made a horror film and got Peter to be in it.
Oh, that's cool.
And then, of course, I naturally reflected back to Davy Jones being on the Brady Bunch. And that was another early memory and one of my favorite episodes. Anytime pop stars appeared in sitcoms or crazy comedies, that was.
For whatever reason, I never got into the Brady Bunch, even though I love lots of sitcoms from that era.
Monkees approved.
Yeah.
So how did Nesmith get invited to the making of Sgt. Pepper's?
That's a good question. I think they were just there already.
Were they in England?
They were over there, promoting stuff, maybe playing shows, and the Beatles threw them a party at one point.
Did they?
Yeah.
Isn't that kind of
And then
crazy?
the Monkees wrote a song about the party that the Beatles invited them to, which is on Headquarters, tying everything together.
I just there's some really cool psychedelic footage of Lennon and the symphony wearing crazy masks, and recording I think they're recording A Day in the Life, and you see Nesmith for a second.
Yeah, it's in the Beatles book that they're hanging out in some of those Beatles sessions books where it lists everybody who walked through the room at the time. Lennon had Nesmith stay at his house for weeks, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
I could see that being more the Harry Nilsson period, but not the Beatle period. You know what I'm saying?
It was definitely while it was 60s era. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, Lennon.
Nesmith has a crazy, crazy story.
I guess he does.
His book is really worth reading. He's got some
you got
nutty.
his book?
It's around here somewhere.
Oh, do you? Okay.
He's got some nutty anecdotes. He's got this great, story about smoking weed with Johnny Cash on the roof of some building. I don't know. I can't tell. Yeah, you should read the book. Don't let me ruin it for everybody.
Great, you gave it away.
Yeah.
Right there.
And his albums that were post the Monkees are really
fantastic
really good.
stuff.
Yeah.
He has Red Rhodes is one of the greatest pedal steel players of all time, and is on his first 5 albums.
Mm. Lennon would put down so many other bands because that was Lennon's nature to put people down, and he would put down the Monkees or put them in their place, saying that once the Beatles had moved on from their mop top thing, that it was time for them to grow up, and if kids wanted to listen to that kind of stuff, they could listen to the Monkees, which I guess doesn't seem to be a put down, but it really kind of is. And because that means listen to another band that's not matured yet.
In Monkees lore, supposedly Lennon was a big, he liked the show.
He liked the show?
Yeah, he thought that they were the next Marx Brothers. That's apparently some quote that's attributed to him, that they're the greatest comedians since the Marx Brothers.
Which means they're the next Beatles, obviously, of course, or something like that.
I don't know.
In color.
I think for him to really lay into the Monkees would have been punching down, which was not really necessary for him to do. because they were catching it from all sides anyway.
Well, actually, and they were probably outselling in most cases in America.
Just for like a minute, though. Really, just for a minute.
The imitators outselling. I would settle for that these days. Yeah,
I think the Monkees catch a bad rap, and they should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for whatever that's worth to anyone. To me, the fact that they're not kind of diminishes the whole thing.
How come no one's ever done a documentary on how bad the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is?
I don't know. For too much money and keeping the thing afloat, probably.
I guess so. So why don't you use, or why do you use video in your podcast? Why don't you just go audio?
I didn't always.
Like the big boys did?
I've only done the last 10 or 20 episodes. I don't know exactly. I've done the last handful of episodes video, but the first 100 and some odd episodes are audio only.
I had a theory on it.
Yeah.
Because you want to be like Johnny Carson.
Oh, I mean, that's not unfair. I'll accept that.
But you were okay.
Didn't you say somewhere in
Carson's one of my all-time heroes?
That Carson was one of your heroes
as an interviewer,
as a child.
Oh, I used to stay up late, like sneak in the hallway to catch a glimpse of Johnny Carson late at night. My parents I used to beg for them to like keep the TV turned up so I could hear it in my room.
I'll bet you, like Rupert Pupkin, had an cardboard audience set up in your basement with a chair and
I did perform
talk shows.
I didn't do talk shows, but I did put a lightsaber in a trash can, and then I would use a baseball bat as a guitar, and I would play records, and I would put on concerts in my room when I was a kid.
I'm more of a Jack Parr kind of guy. I'm kidding.
I love Carson. I love Letterman. Like Letterman is an idol to me, but you know who I'm honest to God, you know who my guy is? It's Conan O'Brien.
That's more your generation.
I mean, he was like Nirvana. He was the Nirvana of talk show hosts. And it hit me at the exact perfect. I was like 12 or 13 when he got that show.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yes, it was perfect timing.
And you love The Simpsons and
I like The Simpsons.
all that stuff.
I love a particular era of The Simpsons, and I like all of it.
I love Carson, of course, and I would fall asleep in my parents' bed, like down at the foot of the bed, and they would leave the TV on, and I guess it was somehow okay if I was in their room. And I remember the 72 era when he was in New York, which I didn't really acknowledge that at the time, but looking back on it now I realize. And he would reference the New York Dolls and things like that on it. Of course, all these things would go over my head if I even caught those kind of things. But he was being hip, in that New York kind of way.
Yeah, I more remember 80s Carson just because that's my generation. But I have some like best of Carson DVDs at home, and I have watched, 60s and 70s Carson.
So you obviously were pretty old when the last episode came on.
I was old enough, yeah.
92.
I was old enough to be sad about it.
I remember we had a party over on Morrison Street with a bunch of people over and watching.
Who could ever forget that moment when Bette Midler sings "Wind Beneath My Wings" to Johnny, and he looks at her poignantly, and it's like he's got the little tear in his eye. Come on, how could you forget?
Well, so you were watching TV, being influenced by pop culture from probably before you can even remember, right?
Yeah, I was allowed to watch things on TV as a very, very young child that really I shouldn't have been.
Why?
Poor parenting. I mean, awful parenting. But, I was raised on like Richard Pryor stand-up and George Carlin stand-up and Saturday Night Live and National Lampoon's movies. And, I was seeing those things and quoting those things inappropriately at a very, very young age.
Well, wait, what year were you born?
79.
So I was 16 the year you were born.
Wow.
And Dennis was
40.
40.
You guys aren't that old.
I was born
in
1953.
I know, you were 26 in 79. You're 10 years older than me. So it's very simple.
What class did you, when did you graduate? Class of 70?
I graduated in the class of 71.
Okay. My mom is the class of 70.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Memphis State, not University of Memphis back then, it was Memphis State. Yeah. I graduated 75. I graduated medical school in 78. Back in the old days.
And you did time in Chicago and got to do a lot of cool things while we were stuck here.
We talked about that actually off the air.
I know. But you were growing up, obviously you say you weren't parented very well, but you were growing up in a rock and roll family.
Kind of. My dad was also a blues musician, which is why...
Tell us who your dad was.
John Paul Rieger. We didn't have a good relationship. But the reason I was asking you about Blues Alley earlier was because he was a blues musician primarily. He was in the Blues Alley Orchestra. He played at Club Paradise. He played at wherever Prince Mongo's Planet. Wherever they had blues shows in the 70s and 80s. He played some of the very, very first Beale Street music festivals with Ma Rainey.
And you're saying separate from the Modifiers.
Oh, that has all of that is like, my father would be horrified if he thought that the Modifiers was his musical legacy. Utterly horrified.
But it should be, shouldn't it?
I mean, he was an original member of the Modifiers, but he loved Bob, the songwriter, Bob Holmes.
Yeah.
And I think he kind of liked Milford too, but he also loved to mercilessly make fun of the Modifiers and punk rock and the Antenna Club, even though he was the sound guy at the Antenna Club, several different stints. He looked down on punk rock pretty harshly.
He didn't like the label.
He didn't like the music.
Okay.
Straight up.
Well, now...
He thought the Modifiers were okay for what it was, but he didn't think anyone else at the Antenna was making good music. Like zero.
But that's kind of punk rock, isn't it?
I guess.
Or just mean.
And I sort of grew up thinking like, my dad used to be like, talking shit about Tav Falco or whoever. and so I just grew up thinking that they were garbage. And I had to get into it on my own separately.
You had to hear them first before you knew for sure.
Yeah. Well, I didn't want to say that. But.
Oh, kidding. Well, when you can hear a chainsaw coming from outside the wall a block away, make up your own mind.
My first show ever was, and I'm not bragging here, was when I was 14 years old. I was playing in a band with me, my dad, Bob, and Kim Keeler. And my first show was opening for the Grifters and the Barnyard Sluts at the Antenna in like 92. And I remember being really excited because the Grifters had just been written up in like Spin or Rolling Stone or something.
92, you say?
90, maybe it's 93.
Okay.
Maybe. But we played like 8 shows at the Antenna before it closed. But I remember my father being like, fuck these guys, a bunch of noise, bullshit. I can't believe anybody in this town even likes this shit,
Well, the Modifier stuff that you gave me, that you sent me a link to, what's the construct of that? It's
all different. It's all different people, all different lineups. The centerpiece of all of it, the only unifying thread in every single thing that I sent you is Bob. But I would say also that Bob and Milf is like those two people are the Modifiers. Those are the Modifier spirit. And everybody else who ever was involved in the project, whether it was me or Dinsmore or whoever, were just serving Milf and Bob.
Well, if you don't mind, I wanted to come into the interview when we edit with Monkey Bear, because I really love Monkey Bear.
Oh, it's a great song. And I inspired that song.
Because you were the Monkey Bear?
No, I probably can't tell the story, honestly, on the microphone.
I don't know if you could tell the story of any of these songs.
Yeah, I probably shouldn't tell the story, but Monkey Bear was written to either make me laugh or to scare me, depending. But the Monkey Bear was a fictional creature created by Bob to make me laugh.
Wow. Well, I just think it's kind of interesting. I sent you a link to yesterday's paper's YouTube link to the Seeds, and listening to this mini doc on the Seeds and finding out that the doors open for the Seeds. And then listening to the Modifiers and sort of the way, your brain tries to connect things that you're like doing.
There's an easier connection is that John Dinsmore is a member of the Modifiers.
That triggered it. So sometimes I want the Modifiers, those recordings you sent me, to sound more like the Seeds, in a way that it's just a total tonal assault. But maybe they're too good for that, or they're too eclectic, or they're just too Memphis. So every song sounds...
I probably have that. I have so many different recording sessions and board tapes. Well, there's Jambox tapes and everything. I've got so many different versions of some of these songs. Sometimes they're more punk rock, sometimes they're more country. 10-minute long jams.
Well, sometimes it could be Beggar's Banquet versus the first Doors album. but it's this sexy attitude that's swaggering, that Vietnam era, you're not taking me.
Bob worshipped the Doors, and he would take that as a huge compliment.
That's how I mean it. And then to find out that the door is open for the Seeds, but to me, it goes back to the Seeds, or that's just my current kick right now. And that Morrison learned things from Sky Saxon on stage and so forth, and the Seeds weren't ever going to really make it. They were too flower power in their anger, which is kind of completely ironic, But in the Modifiers, I kind of hear all of that.
Well, I mean, Bob, and probably, I guess Milford too. I mean, they're like 60s kids that got into punk rock later, but they grew up, Bob is a disciple of Brian Jones and the Brian Jones era Rolling Stones.
Sure.
But then he also loves the Ramones and, Dead Boys.
Could we play So Many Roads, which has a great piano, and when you say Stones, it almost makes me think of it being a Beggar's Banquet sort of esque.
I think of it as kind of the bandy also.
How do you mean?
Like the band, the Robbie Robertson, Levon Helm. Like it's kind of Americana-y
sort
of
the band.
feel.
Yeah. It's like if there is a Hammond or a harmonica there, it's low in the mix. I can't make it out of my cheap speakers.
I think the piano is Bob.
The piano is fantastic.
Yeah.
It's just succinct, and it's what it needs to be.
Sure. I love that song.
Well, let's do So Many Roads.
Goddamn roads. Lord, they all look the same.
This is the story of the one. As head of maintenance at a concert hall, he knows the show must always go on. That's why he works behind the scenes, ensuring every light is working, the HVAC is humming, and his facility shines. With Granger's supplies and solutions for every challenge he faces, plus 24/7 customer support, his venue never misses a beat. Call quickgranger.com or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
Just like the women I met last night, I wish I could remember their name. Sometimes I get so confused I can't sleep. That's why I grab for that bottle, you know me. I don't care what the rest of people say. At least I got my sanity and I'm consistent that way. But that's when I've got to get down now. I've got to get down between the lights. I'll keep rolling along, baby, until I know that feeling's right. I gotta get on going down now. I gotta get down between the lights. Girl, I wish I could remember your name. I can't remember why I took the right turn on that road. It must have been the reason driving in my eye. Then I had to get down beyond light. I'm looking for that little girl who questioned me. Then she talked to me all night. You know, she talked and looked away. That ain't the right thing to do on that kind of day. I gotta get down now. I'll go back to those neon lights. Well, little girl, someone Where the road don't kind of part that kind of way, you see. Lord, I'm so hurt and lonely that way. But you can't live that way, baby. But then I gotta get down now. Down back to the Leon light. I know there's somebody waiting for me. Who's she gonna be? I can't tell tonight. Can't tell tonight. Lord, I can't tell tonight. Tonight. Gotta get out now. I gotta get down.
So yeah, you should have called it Goddamn Roads.
Could have, but then, we wouldn't have got all that airplay.
Well, who were the original lineups of the Modifiers?
That's tough. I don't know the original. I mean, it's hard to say. I think my father, if he wasn't the first bass player, he was among them, and then certainly Jamie Spencer was one of the original drummers, if not the original. And Big Dave was Dave Catching, who is now a famous musician and record producer in L.A., was in the band. And in fact, the Modifiers are how he got to L.A. He went with the Modifiers to L.A.
Through Dinsmore connections?
Well, they went out there on their own originally, like just Bob and Milf, I think. And then they met with Dinsmore. Like, I think they met him at a juice bar. I'm serious. They met him at a juice bar, and they were like, yo... we just hit town where we have this punk band, and he was like, "Oh, I want to be in a punk band. I've got this friend who I've been talking about being in a punk band with. His name is Durf. He's in a band called Fear. Let's start a band." And so Dinsmore and Durf joined the Modifiers.
Huh. Wow. Well, Dinsmore probably was hearing so much history about how the Doors were proto-punk, and he probably was fascinated by it all. Especially and maybe did Dinsmore listen to the Germs or
I have no idea,
or any of the or X? Or,
I don't really, you don't
know.
I reached out to Dinsmore at one point when I was trying to get all this Modifier stuff together, and I was trying to, put together enough of it to submit to like maybe see if some labels would put it out. And I got in touch with him, and he was like, "Yes, I would love for you to put out this material. I would love to see, but." That was like through his management. I never actually spoke to him directly.
Right. Yeah. Well, I guess he's accessible. He's on YouTube giving interviews with Reager and all that.
I guess.
Yeah. So was Ross Johnson an original member?
I don't know if he was he was definitely a fill-in member in the original period. The Modifiers were a thing where like they had rotating backing band because my dad was super cantankerous. He would quit. He quit the band like 1,000 times.
Because especially when punk got brought up.
He was also just an asshole and impossible to work with, and he thought he was above everything and probably treated everybody in the band like shit, and he quit every band he was ever in. He was like an egomaniac who thought that like the world should kiss his feet or something.
For a bass player.
Well, he was a lead guitar player by trade.
Okay.
And he was slumming it as a bass player in the Modifiers.
It's not like he was making a lot of
money. But he was like, my father had John Paul Reager Day was once proclaimed by the mayor of Memphis, and
no kidding.
There's some in the late 70s or early 80s. B.B. King gave some interview where he said my dad was the greatest white man playing the blues.
Wow, I didn't know any of this.
He was a virtuosic blues guitar player.
Well, did he play the blues festivals at the Shell?
He played the Shell many times. He played the early Beale Street Music Festivals. One of the pictures I have of him that is my favorite is him in Ma Rainey 3 at like the second Beale Street Music Festival ever downtown.
Was he like a classic hippie?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, totally. He was at Woodstock.
Wow. And where does your mom fit into all this? Do you have brothers and sisters?
No, I'm an only child. Yeah. My uber religious grandparents threatened to disown my mother if she didn't marry my father once she got pregnant.
Well, you seem to turn out okay.
I've been in therapy for like 6 years now, and it's only in the last few years that I think that I've kind of come out on the other side of it.
Does that actually work for you? When you actually you already know though what the problems are, you just need to talk them out?
Intellectually, sometimes you know what the answer is, but like truly accepting it and embracing it like here is like a totally different step. Mm-hmm. Like intellectually, you can be like, oh yes, I should no longer be drinking myself to death. Mm-hmm. But you've got to have it more than just in your head.
I think I would have to have more doors open, like physical manifestations of karma or good luck or opportunities. And then I'd go, well, maybe I have manifested the realization of what I was and what I could be. Does that make sense?
I mean, I think for me, it was kind of the opposite. I was, waiting for something to happen externally or something to save me. Well, I had to seek peace and healing actively.
Did you think you were your own worst enemy?
Other than my father? Yes.
Well, now you're just going to bring your dad up every time,
Who cares? He's dead. Throw him under the bus.
Oh, Lord.
I mean, no offense.
Did your dad like the Monkees?
Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go. Did. All right, well, let's cut to a Monkey song.
Cut to the blues one.
What is your favorite Monkey song?
That's tough. Maybe The Girl That I Knew Somewhere.
Will we get in trouble if we play that?
Probably.
We'll do it anyway.
You can if you want to.
We're not making any money.
It's a Nesmith song. If you can find the version that Nesmith sings, that would be an extra cool step. But if you play the Mickey Dolenz song version, that's fine.
Whatever you want.
It's whichever you have access to.
What would your dad want?
Yeah, who cares?
Okay.
You tell me that you've never been this way before. You tell me things I know that I've heard somewhere. You're standing in the places and you're staring down through faces that bring to mind traces of a girl that I knew somewhere. I just can't put my finger on what it is that says to me, watch out, don't believe her. I can't give any reasons, girl, my thoughts are bound down in a whirl. I just can't think of when the world was that girl. I know I met her somewhere. Somehow the same thing was done. Someone somewhere did me the same wrong. Goodbye, dear, I just can't take this chance. I just can't take my fingers are still burning from the last time. And if your love was not a game, I only have myself to blame. That's as maybe I can't explain. Just ask the girl that I knew somewhere. Besides, maybe I can't explain. Just ask the girl that I knew somewhere.
Hey, we're back.
Yes, and we're reliving the past with Mike McCarthy.
That's every day. I wake up in a room full of artifacts and relics.
Yeah, me too.
And I'm thinking, why would I sell my house when I can just keep making the house payment and it's like a storage area?
Sure.
So you're married, right?
I am.
So what does your wife think about the storage area?
Oh, about all my memorabilia?
Well, does she have her space and her world?
Yeah, she has her own stuff. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and you're not allowed to go in there.
It's not, I mean, I sort of have to because her office, you have to go through her office to get to the car. But yeah.
What does she do?
She was in nonprofit fundraising for many years. Now she works for a software company that it's software for nonprofit fundraising. So it's technically a for-profit company.
Yeah.
But it's nonprofit software that they create. So she still works with nonprofit people constantly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
that sounded convoluted, I think, but.
And we may have to get back to that because I just got a phone call here. I'm sorry. I thought my phone was off.
Who is this? Let's take this live on the air.
Hello? Who's this?
Mike, this is the voice of destiny calling.
That would be Ross Johnson?
Yes, the Baron of Love. BARRENOF, love.
Okay. Okay.
Did you set this up for him to call while we were doing this?
To the young man it's his special night. Well, it's my special night. I'm 72 years old. I'm not dead yet, but I need to tell him something.
Wait, Ross, today's your birthday?
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Ross. Tell Ross I said happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Ross.
72. How did that happen, given the lifestyle?
Well, can you hear JD?
Hey, Ross.
Yeah, I can. What I wanted to say is that, JD, I'm sorry. I'm doing this to say, where is my copy of the album that I contributed to? But what I really wanted to do
Did I not give you one?
Was talk about your father.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
And also just say that I was very afraid of your father. And I also liked him very much. And he and I would get into these conversations that were, that just spiraled and spiraled. And he always checked me. But he was a great, great player. But I'm proud to have been on your record.
Oh, well, that's sweet, Ross. JD's listening to all this. Let's see if you can hear JD for a second.
Thank you, Ross. I appreciate you calling in, and I was afraid of him too. Let me assure you.
I bet it was. I think that was probably I won't say universal response, but the man was born intimidator, and I like that about him.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturing facility, he knows keeping the line up and running is a top priority. That's why he chooses Granger. Because when a drive belt gets damaged, Granger makes it easy to find the exact specs for the replacement product he needs. And next day delivery helps ensure he'll have everything in place and running like clockwork. Call 1-800-GRANGER, click Granger.com, or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
And I tried to take a few things from his box of tricks that I never could, but just because I didn't have the masculine essence that he did.
Yeah.
And but I really loved playing with him, and I'm sorry that he and I didn't get to play with the Modifiers at the same time. I played with the first version, which was...
See, here's Ross with clarification.
Brothers, Doug on bass and Ron on guitar, me on drums, and Milford in a werewolf mask, which there is a picture of, so I can prove it.
You remember what year?
1980. And this was just when Milford was starting the changeover from hippie dude to like, maybe I'll be a punker or so, you know. I guess I shouldn't tell this, but because I am related sort of to the Thompson clan, because my youngest daughter is Milford's niece. I just wanted to call and try to make a prank call, but I was a little too emotional for that.
Well, Ross, could this be a setup for maybe to play that cut of your spoken word off of JD's record?
Sure. I don't know if my father's PTSD.
We could also do the one about him being a cheater,
philanderer.
Yeah.
Philanderer might be more for our audience.
Yeah. I think so. I think you know your demographic.
I think it certainly has more of an opportunity to offend members of the audience.
All right. And I've got to get ready to go play a concert at the Lamplighter with Turnt. That's right, the band I sometimes, I won't say play with anymore, but I do entertain with. Not really playing a set of drums anymore because of my advanced age and deteriorating spinal column. But I do still punish audiences with a microphone and a PA, and they have both. Yeah. I'm going to do my best to either clear the room. And then also, I think tonight from Kansas City, they're just back from a Japanese tour. The what are they called? I've forgotten, but they're really good. So come see them.
Well, by the time this airs, everyone will be dead. So
okay.
it's a good plug, but I'll try to get it out as quick as I can.
At least I made it to 72.
Happy birthday, Ross.
Happy birthday, Ross.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to me, and happy podcast to you. And hello to your father, wherever he is. If there is another side, I will look for him. Okay?
Deal.
All right.
And JD's going to get you a copy of that record.
Yeah, for sure.
I demand it. Hey, all right, bye.
That was sweet. We're going to do the infidelity song.
Well, this will be an excuse to talk about the record, but this is J.D. Reager's Where Wasn't I? Play on words there.
But this is Ross Johnson singing.
Yes, spoken word.
Yeah.
Called Philanderer with you playing underneath.
Yes.
Okay.
I wrote the music and played a good chunk of it.
Here we go.
What if she came back? I know who she is, but she's been gone a few years, and she really had to leave because I got a little problem. Promiscuity. I'm a cheater. I'm a liar. So I cheated, I lied, I lost and I cried, and I had her. I asked her to come back, I begged her to come back, time and time again, or sometimes she'd just come back against her better judgment. Because I guess you could call it love. I really don't think of love in a Dr. Phil kind of way, like everything's got to be healthy. I think all the crazy stuff and all the deeply painful, troubling, obviously troubling stuff, that's love. So I wonder if she came back, because I'm not a praying man, but I certainly hope against hope, because I'm a goat. I wish she'd come back, but what would happen to who I'm with right now? Sweet and kind, and I've never had much use for sweet and kind. I like challenging, yeah. So could I leave who I'm with now? I don't think I could. So, but I don't think it's a dilemma I'll ever have to face, because what I did, and how I did it, and who I did it to, well, it's one of my favorite subjects. I write about it, I talk about it. So I'll say, maybe, please come back.
Aren't we? We're back, and
well, I tell you, sometimes this is like work with no boss, because management's what runs everything anyway.
Yeah.
You all right, Dennis?
Are we good?
We're good.
We're still rolling?
That was Philanderer with
We're rolling.
With JD and Ross. What are your thoughts on working with Ross, or how did that all come together?
I was still in Chicago when it happened. I was working on putting my record together, and I had a couple of instrumental pieces that I couldn't come up with lyrics to myself. I couldn't. I was like, man, these are really hard to sing. These are just kind of, the other one especially is just kind of a noise track, kind of.
So you had written lyrics?
No, I didn't even. I sat with them and just could never come up with a melody or anything. So I sent them to Harry Knititsiotis, and I said, hey, I'm going to send you these tracks, and Ross is going to come over, and he's going to do whatever he does.
And Harry said, what if I don't want this to happen?
Right. But eventually I talked him into it, and I think Ross went in and just did one take.
This is at Five and Dime?
At Five and Dime. He sat down behind the drum kit because he didn't want to be close mic'd for whatever. I think it was still pandemic time, so he was like wary of being close mic'd. So he just sat down behind the drum kit, and with the overhead drum mics, he did, like, Harry played the songs, and he told two wildly different stories, and yeah.
And that suits the lo-fi mix anyway, right? To sing or talk over the barrage of percussion, maybe.
And I think it's cool. I'm a big Alex Chilton fan, of course, and there's Ross did that on an Alex Chilton record, so It's like I was like, hey,
you got like a lot of people.
Kind of cool to have Ross do that on my record too.
How many solo records have you had?
I have 3 solo records,
and this one falls as the third one.
It's the third one.
It's the last one.
I mean, I don't know for sure.
Well, I don't mean forever. I mean, in the trilogy.
Never say. I've learned from the wrestling business never to say never.
Are you into wrestling?
Yeah, very much. I'm a wrestling ring photographer. I mean, that's one of my day jobs. Yeah.
For who?
Memphis Wrestling. Dustin Starr.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he's still involved with the Coliseum Coalition, and
kind of, I guess. And I think Derek King might have been even more involved.
Yeah.
But yeah, he runs the top promotion in town, and he has a show this Sunday, and I will be there taking pictures.
What's the show comprised of?
It's the show. Well, Memphis Wrestling comes on every Friday night and then Saturday afternoon on Channel 5, and then also YouTube and stations all over the country, honestly.
You think they'd put a billboard up that says that?
And and they have a TV studio out by the airport called the Wrestle Center. They do shows every 3 weeks, roughly, and they tape 3 episodes at a time.
So they no longer do anything on Union Avenue?
No.
That's
nothing.
Too bad.
In the room that used to have wrestling is now what they do, like their afternoon TV stuff.
Well, I was there promoting the Bowie sculpture last year, and I was in this large room with this lady that, like you said, it's normally a cooking show set or something, and I'm standing in there going,
was the wrestling room.
Could this have been the room?
That was it.
And I had this kind of weird feeling that it was.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You were 4 years old when Kaufman was here.
I remember it, though.
Yeah.
I remember my dad calling me into the room to show me the Andy Kaufman scene where he's taking a shower, and he's like, this is soap. This is how you make lather, whatever. Well, my dad loved to make fun of the South because he was from St. Louis. Here's more of my dad's stuff. But one of the things I used to love to make fun of my dad for was that he used to, he would be like, I'm from the North. I'm from up north. And talking about St. Louis. Like, that's not a southern slave state, but let's move on. Let's move on from that. That's not the home of Nellie, or whatever. Sure, fine. You're from up north, Dad, St. Louis, Missouri.
Well, my parents thought I was coming up north because I was moving to Memphis. So anything outside of Mississippi, straight up, was up north. And then when I did go to Chicago and accidentally made a comment to someone I was working with up there about how they were up north, they're like, what are you talking about? We're not up north. And I'm like, well, I'm down south, aren't I?
Yeah, I mean, I think once you're in Chicago that you can safely call that up north.
Yeah. I mean, what do they want me to talk about? Canada, maybe?
If you're on a Great Lake, you're up north. I think that's a safe,
especially when the winter hits. Yeah,
it's cold as hell up there. Let me assure you.
My parents had moved to Wisconsin at one point when I was a baby, and that's even more up north. That's about as up north as you can get.
Until Canada. Yeah.
Well, when you were growing up, did you guys move around?
He was from St. Louis, but he moved to Memphis in the 70s to play blues music, and then met my mom at a party, and the rest is history. I was born and raised in Memphis. The only reasons I've ever lived outside of Memphis is I lived a year in Knoxville, I lived when Jennifer went to college at MTSU, I lived with her, my wife, for like 3 years up there. And then we lived for 5 years in Chicago when she had a job up there.
But she doesn't play music or anything like that.
Well, she played the flute in high school band.
That's what these songs need, is a flute.
Yeah. She can still play, actually.
On Where Wasn't I? What's that supposed to mean? Like you've been in a lot of places?
I mean, it had been a long time since I had put something out, and I had been away from Memphis, like physically away from Memphis. And it's an Andy Kindler joke. I don't know if you... he's a stand-up comedian, and he tells this he's very meandering in his style, and he's doing this one bit where he's just bouncing from thing to thing to thing to thing, and then at the end of it he just goes, "Where wasn't I?" and my album, I think, is kind of indicative of that. There's some really punk rock moments and almost like some screamy, almost metal moments, but then there's also some acoustic, kind of folksy or country type moments too, and some moments with Ross instead of me. There's all kinds of different moods and modes of music.
Could I play something that from the record that maybe most people wouldn't anticipate coming from you?
I guess I'm curious.
It struck me as that. Anyway.
Okay, what would that be?
New Friend.
Okay, sure, yeah.
Let's play New Friend and come back.
Buying a car in Carvana was so easy. I was able to finance it through them.
Whoa, wait, you mean finance?
Yeah, finance. Got pre-qualified for a Carvana auto loan, entered my terms, and shot from thousands of great car options all within my budget.
That's cool, but financing through Carvana was so easy.
Financed. Done. And I get to pick up my car from their Carvana vending machine tomorrow.
Financed.
Right, that's what I said.
You can spend time trying to pronounce financing, or you can actually finance and buy your car today on
Carvana.
Financing subject to credit approval. Additional terms and conditions may apply.
Yeah, I like that song because it's pretty positive.
Of course, yes.
It's a sweet song.
How
I think,
odd that you would be positive.
It is, actually. I mean, I think to my own detriment, I think a lot of my material is kind of a bummer to listen to. It's certainly a bummer. Like, I don't really play some of it. There's some of it I don't play anymore because it's just too difficult for me.
I was certainly happier when we began the podcast.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And when I found out who got Ross to call, was that you? No, in the track listing of the record, I don't know what I was expecting because I've never sat down and listened to an entire album from you. The record tonally is everywhere. Have you put out records that maintain a sonic tone or not so many emotional shifts? Or, well, maybe the lyrics are emotionally shifting, but the music is.
I think all of my records are a little bit, little bit all over the place. I think maybe the second one is a little more punk rock than all of them, and the first one might be a little more Snowglobe or more. I mean, there's more like strings and horns and stuff like that on there.
Okay.
On the first one, but
so you went for that produced. You wanted to make something that was a produced.
And
product.
I had a recording studio at the time, also called Unclaimed Recording. So I was doing lots of dicking around in the studio and like, hey, we've got a horn player in here. Hey, why don't you play on this thing of mine too?
Hey, there's a reverb button.
Yeah.
How does that collide with Makeshift and Snowglobe and
I mean, I was a part of Makeshift,
but that's way back before your first, second, third records come into play.
My first solo record is on Makeshift.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm like the old school guy, not as old as your Modifiers generation and all that, but I come in the 80s, hardcore antenna, all ages sort of thing, and then we tried to do post-punk power pop, and that didn't go over so well. And you learn, maybe sometimes you just give up or you circle back around later, especially when, you have something to write about that you feel like is meaningful, or you get the right people to play with you. So did those early albums have the same lineups, or were they also a hodgepodge of really great people?
All of my records are a total hodgepodge.
But did the Makeshift record reflect Snowglobe's lineup?
I mean, there's some Snowglobe people on it.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I cover a Snowglobe song on it.
Okay.
And I played on the Snowglobe record that was out at that time too, called Oxytocin.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty proud of my contributions to that.
What'd you do on that?
I played a lot of different stuff, but I played drums on 5 songs, and then I played guitar on 3 or 4, and uncredited played keyboards on 1, and also sang backups on some stuff.
So all this talent, I mean, this genetic thing or whatever.
I guess, yeah.
There it comes, right?
Sure.
I mean, you're a multi-instrumentalist.
I mean, there were always instruments around at my house.
Yeah. And you played with your dad at the antenna. That's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. The band was funny.
Yeah.
Spitshine.
Oh, okay.
Do you remember that
I
band?
remember the name, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I mean, at that point,
I was so heartbroken when that band, because there were a lot of like Riot Girl bands that were big at the time, like your Hole and your L7s and all those kind of things, and I was like convinced that Kim was going to be like the next, Courtney Love or
right.
Kathleen Hanna or whatever.
Right. Well, have you had that period of thought, or like thinking about, wow, why doesn't this work, or is it working for enough people that I think it's a success? What in your mind constitutes you keeping going, or you have to have some feedback, right?
I mean, I'm not exactly sure what you're asking me, but
popularity and rock and roll not being what it was, and even if it were, would Memphis have any say so in it?
Good. I mean, fair question. I mean, I think the quality of music in Memphis is still pretty good, from what I can tell, but I have
quality of rock and roll.
Yeah, quality of rock and roll, and quality of not rock and roll too. I mean, there's a whole lot of experimental, weird music being made here, Memphis concrete scene, and also tons of really good hip hop. Which that's not my scene, but it's there.
Yeah, we just put an album out by Pop Ritual. They're electronic, psych,
industrial.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, so there's lots of good stuff being made in Memphis still, but
maybe it's overwhelming.
I mean, maybe, but I just don't even know, like, what is making it, like there's so much
making the record, but not making it.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much noise that you have to filter to even get, people say that because you can distribute your own records now, you don't, it's a level playing field, and, It makes it easier, No, it makes it way harder because now it's not special to have a record. Now everybody has a record. It's just like having a podcast. Everybody has a podcast.
Sure.
So how do you possibly stand out whenever, having a record used to mean something.
Yeah.
How do you differentiate yourself?
Basically, it's just money. That's how you stand out, is money.
PR.
You buy it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you say put a record out, you mean the physical artifact?
I guess, yeah. Or to have it on Spotify, too. To have a record that's available in the places where people consume music.
To me, that drawing the line in the sand would be, or like Amy LaVere said a couple of weeks ago, if you don't have a physical artifact, and you go on tour, I guess she was alluding to maybe in the older audience, too. They're not excited if you're on Spotify. They want something to take home.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, getting the band together, performing the songs, creating the arrangements, it's kind of like what I'm doing now with the sculpture. It's not enough to do the sculpture. You have to figure out how to pay for the sculpture to exist in reality. And sometimes that's a one-man show. And you do a lot of one-man show stuff from what I can tell.
I mean, previous to the last couple of years, I was pretty focused on, I don't know, gosh, I hate this now, making it, making something of myself or making something more of myself than what I perceived. It sounds depressing maybe to say that I've given up or whatever, but I'm not really trying to make it anymore. And I think if I think about it, what I do right now to make a living, and I work in wrestling. Yeah. I take pictures of wrestling, and I work for Shangri-La. I do content for Shangri-La Records. I'm doing like dream stuff, and I made it already. So I feel like I've been enjoying the last couple of years of not putting so much pressure on myself, I guess, is what I'm working towards.
Some folks would call that achieving self-actualization, because you've gotten to the point where you have achieved something that has made you happy and has fulfilled you, and you no longer feel this urge or this, you have to make it.
Yeah, I feel, because...
You in many ways have made it.
Yeah, because my wife loves me and my friends love me, and that's all that really matters.
And you're on Black and Wyatt podcast.
And I get to hang out with cool people and have fun conversations about my life and father.
Yeah, everybody that we have on, I try to get them to talk about, not necessarily defining happiness, but I guess I really want to know what makes them write the songs and material they do, or in some cases, just fight for causes. Because you're not just a musician, you're also an activist in that way. You're pro Memphis, obviously.
Yeah,
and you're even.
I wouldn't say my music is like super activisty.
No,
even though as a former member of Pez, I guess I get like a little credit.
I don't mean that way. I mean like in the way that you're involved in cultural things in Memphis that are supposedly making things better, right?
Supposedly. Hey, thanks, Mike. That's all I want to do with the podcast. Mm-hmm. I'm not really chasing the numbers the way I used to be when I first started. Now I just want to hang out with my engineer, Eric, and I want to have fun conversations with people that I like and admire, such as yourself.
Oh.
And,
but you make a living.
Not with the podcast. I just do that for fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how do you make a living?
I string together odd jobs, like, content for different people. I've produced podcasts for other people than myself. I'm a wrestling ring photographer, as I've said a few times. I just do fun, odd jobs.
I guess I'd do that too.
Yeah. And I'm open to another fun, odd job. If anyone listening wants to hire me for something that seems fun, I'll take pictures at your cool event, or I'll, if you've got some crazy podcast idea and you need a producer, you can holler at me.
So you have a physical studio in your house?
No, I've just got a desk with a laptop and, some gear.
Is this what you're looking at here? Is this like the typical thing?
Yeah, sure.
And then we have one more microphone we sometimes use.
Yeah.
In making these 3 albums, and you say you have nothing to promote, looking back on do you feel like you're at a moment now where you're like, well, I could kind of go that way, I could go this way? You're talking about photography, podcasting, making music. With me, it's kind of like sort of whatever takes me in a certain direction, and I can cover my bills that month, and everything's fine and great. What's taking you in a certain direction right now?
I don't know, man. I think
What do you anticipate?
for the future.
Well, are you willing things into existence, or are you letting things happen sort of in a natural
I think I'm just letting them come to me at this point. You know, honestly, I'm just trying to go where the love is, in the words of my friend Mark Edgar Stewart. That's honestly what I would, I never really envisioned a world where I'd be involved in like wrestling, or I didn't think I would ever get back involved with Shangri-La again, but things changed. And I'm really happy to be working with my friends. The life I love is making music with my friends, and so to speak, both figuratively and literally. And so, I mean, I'm friends with most of the folks at the Wrestle Center. I'm friends with everybody at Shangri-La. Me and my engineer, Eric, he's my bass player in my band too. The band hasn't played in almost 2 years, but I love hanging out with those guys. And I mean, I just honestly want to fill whatever's left of my life. I mean, my father died of a stroke. Both of my grandfathers on both sides of my family both died of strokes. So I have a pretty good idea how I'm going to go, and that I may not live till I'm 90. So I just want to have fun and not, put so much fucking pressure on myself anymore, and enjoy my life, enjoy my, I love my wife. I love my cat. I'm really into baseball. I enjoy talking to you. That's enough for me.
When I contacted you the other day, you were at a baseball game?
Yeah, I think so.
What happened? Who won?
Redbirds.
Yeah.
Comeback victory.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pyramid Club used to be over by third base.
Oh, yeah?
You remember that place? No. Yeah. Tommy, who started Java Cabana, he also ran the Pyramid Clubs. Every time I think about Redbirds Stadium, I think about the Pyramid Club.
I feel like Bob was in a band. If it wasn't the Modifiers, it's some version. Because I've heard Bob talk about the Pyramid Club. He either hung out there or played there or something, but I'm not sure what.
It's one of those cool old buildings you had to walk up the stairs to get to. A lot of those places are gone. But what's the name of the band that you're in right now? This hasn't played in 2 years.
JD Reager and the Cold-Blooded Three, or sometimes it's just JD Reager, but they call, Bubba really likes the name Bubba John, my drummer, John Bonds. He would prefer me to say John Bonds and not say Bubba, but yeah, he really likes the name.
That would be a podcast.
He really likes the name, so we still use it sometimes.
Yeah. Now, reading the credits list on Where Wasn't I, it's like, man, it's nice to know all these people that you can just call and say, hey, I got this idea, can you do this?
Well, I was lucky. It was, when I was really putting the album, like putting the screws on, let's get this together, let's get this finished, it was the heart of the pandemic, so everybody was looking for shit to do,
right?
So like Steve was yes, I will play that guitar solo on New Friend, Steve Selvage, great guitar player. And that's how I was able to get so many great people. I mean, I've always been able to get cool people to play on my records, thankfully, somehow. I was really inspired by that. Have you ever heard the Mike Watt album, Ball Hog or Tugboat? Came out in the mid-90s, and every song on the record is a different band. And it's like all these different crazy combinations of like 90s musicians that would never otherwise play together in bands. And I just thought that was really cool. So I've just been trying to remake that record for 20 years or something.
When did you discover Memphis music, or were you already always so tapped in?
I was into it, I remember being really into Human Radio when they first came out. And I remember, I love
88, 89.
Yeah, I love that album on cassette. And I mean, I was aware of, what the Modifiers were doing, and my dad would sometimes drag me to the antenna. I remember seeing, Jason and the Scorchers do sound checks and stuff, and I was like way too young to be inside the antenna. So I was aware of music, and especially I was more aware of blues stuff going on too when I was a kid.
But when did it mean something to you as an adult where you were able to contribute or put something back into it?
Well, when Nirvana came out in 91, I had gotten a drum set because I wanted to be like Mickey Dolenz and the Monkees when I was 7. And I had learned to play drums, and I still had them, but it was more of just like a hobby until Nirvana. And then it just something shifted, and it was basically the only focus of my life from that point until, roughly a few years ago was, gotta make it, gotta be, music,
Because we were talking to Joey Killingsworth about that when his dad, of course, is a musician, and that didn't mean that he just took everything for granted and actually shied away from everything that his dad was trying to sort of organically shape around him. But then, like you said, boom, it hit him that, I see something here and maybe a way I can contribute to it. And so it kind of.
Well, I thought that you had to be like a virtuoso or something like my dad, and I was like, God, that's too hard.
Well, that's where punk sets you free.
I don't want to do that. I don't want to learn the chords to Sweet Lorraine. Like I don't. I'm 13.
Well, I couldn't.
I want to learn how to play Beat on the Brat and Smells Like Teen Spirit.
Yeah.
So yes, that's what made it seem possible.
For me, the 90s were being older, was realizing, oh, okay, Jack, who was in Rin Tin Horn, is now in the Compulsive Gamblers, and there, he's from Corinth, Mississippi, where my wife at the time was from. And I was beginning to realize it wasn't so much just about the punk rock thing of touching someone on stage because you were so close. It was also about interpersonal connections and friendships where, maybe you could work with these people even. Yeah. It was even more profound than even
I
that.
Totally romanticized that interpersonal, I wanted every band to be like the Monkees, for us to be like best friends and living together all in the same house and all that kind of stuff. And was sort of crushed, honestly, when it didn't really turn out to be that as an adult.
It
person.
Isn't?
Yeah.
Well,
it's a bummer.
When you're doing podcast, do you feel like you're holding back, and the only way you can really be yourself is to be singing and maybe in a low mix in a rock and roll song, or do you feel like you can be yourself in every situation you've described?
I feel like, not every situation, as a journalist, or, sometimes, I have, probably have political opinions that, like, I don't know. I have no idea. I don't even, it's like in the wrestling world,
Right.
Don't ask, don't tell.
Right.
So whatever. But I feel pretty free here talking to you, and as a podcaster, maybe I was more self-conscious when I started, but at this point I'm pretty, I'm pretty comfortable.
I
try to be,
Sure.
I want this to be I didn't plan anything that we were going to talk about. I don't have any, a cheat sheet of like zingers here.
You do on your podcast though. I see you going to your notes.
I do. I write notes about the guest. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
And I've got songs written down here because my God, you've been connected to so many things.
I've been in a lot of bands.
Well, not just bands. Like the Rock for Love connection and the wrestling connection, and you produced a Subteens record.
I did,
which goes back to music.
I'm super proud of that record. I love the Subteens, and I honestly am probably as proud of that Subteens record as I am of my own stuff.
So when you say it's produced by you, what does that mean exactly? In the case of the Subteens, anyway.
In the case of the Subteens, it means that I hands-on engineered most of it. I was in the garage with the band when they were like arranging the songs
in the garage.
At Graham Burke's studio, which is above his garage, actually. So,
okay, yeah.
So actually, we were literally in a garage. But we were there with my gear set up, and I was helping them figure out, the arrangements and the helping them determine which performances were the ones. And then, I helped them piece together all the overdubs, and I played on all the songs too. I don't know if I'm supposed to say that, but I did play. I snuck a synthesizer into every single song on that record, actually, believe it or not, on the Subteens record.
Oh, don't tell Mark Aiken that.
Oh, he knows.
Okay.
He knows. And I also played some guitar and sang some backup vocals on that.
And were you anticipating that?
I was kind of hoping they would let me do some stuff like that. Yeah.
So I guess like in a 1, 2, 3 sort of fashion, they give you a demo of the songs, and they're like,
no, they didn't.
They didn't even do that.
No.
Oh, they played them for you.
They cut versions of a couple of the tunes at Harry's studio. So I guess I heard other versions of the songs, but I wouldn't even call them demos. They were just like other studio recordings. I guess they were demos.
Well, I didn't know how they approached you with the stuff.
But a good chunk of the material I had never heard before.
Can we play like a song that you
Sure.
stuck a synth in on?
Yeah. You could. That's every song.
That's
but
right.
Actually,
that's
probably the song that has the most of me in it is a song called "I Believe in You," or maybe it's called Jesus Christ. What are they? It's called
I Believe in Jesus Christ.
No, it's called "You Won't Hear Me Say It."
Okay.
I think because we fought about this. The hook of the song is "I Believe in You," but for whatever reason, Jay insisted on the title of the song being You Won't Hear Me Say It, which doesn't make any sense because I think the thrust of the song is I Believe in You. I think that's what you want to take away from that song is this positive message of belief in someone. But again, they spun it into a negative way. You won't hear me say it.
Well, this is a liner note.
Yeah.
From an album called Dashed Hopes and Good Intentions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Volume 4.
Volume 4. And what's that all about?
It's their 4th record.
Okay.
You Won't Hear Me Say It is officially the name of the song.
So why don't you put out a wrestling record?
Why don't I put out a wrestling record? Do you mean like a song? I do. There is one song on my record, which is very thinly veiled about The Undertaker. The wrestler, The Undertaker.
On the last record?
On Where Wasn't I?
Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah. There's a song on there about The Undertaker.
Not trying to start something.
No, that song's about Bob. That song's about me having a fucking fight with Bob before he died. Not a physical fight, but an argument.
These titles could mean anything regarding...
The song that's inspired by The Undertaker and has some very, very thinly veiled wrestling references in the lyrics.
What is it?
It's, It Meant Everything.
Searching for something, 'cause I can't let go of this thing. I took off my hat and my jacket and left them in the ring. Everyone says I should move on, but my heart won't let me rest. Have I hung on for too long? Should I settle for less? recovered was that it meant everything. Question, can I do something else? My whole life I've buried my feelings. How can I bury myself? To truly go out on my back, I need help from a friend. Have set up the beginning, but I want to write the end. Through all we've recovered, the dead friends and lovers, what we've discovered was that it meant everything.
Well, I mean, the song is about me questioning whether or not I still want to do music or entertainment, anymore. And then I had seen a documentary about The Undertaker, and he was on his sort of retirement from wrestling tour. And he said some things, he said a couple of things in the documentary that I think I stole and turned into lyrics, and then I expanded it and made it about myself. And then also just put some wrestling jokes in there for fun.
What's the similarity between wrestling and rock and roll?
Well, it's a performance.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's performers. It's the entertainment business. It's people bearing their heart and soul in front of, for peanuts on the independent level.
Yeah.
It's like, I think it's maybe the purest form of entertainment. I would say either wrestling or stand-up comedy. I would put those ahead of music, because I think those are much more pure forms of expression.
And then you get Andy Kaufman, which is a combination.
Yeah, which was, he was like meta before meta was a thing.
I'm so glad that he was here giving us some amazing pop culture substance as in a late phase 1983 kind of way.
Yeah, one of the guys at the Wrestle Center who's a security guard was one of the guys who helped. He said he would help sneak like Kaufman out of the Mid-South Coliseum in his trunk. Back in the day, like they would have to sneak him out in the trunk of their cars because the people outside would be looking for blood.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah. The photo of him being taken out on a stretcher, I've often thought, well, that would be like a cool sculpture outside of the Mid-South Coliseum.
Do you know the story about that? About how they came up to him and he was knocked out and they were like, hey, okay, Andy, get up, you got to get up, and he was like, call the ambulance. And then, and then Jerry's like, we can't do that, Andy. We can't. And he's like, I'll pay for it. And they're like, okay, call the ambulance.
Oh my God. There was a Facebook post with that photo a while back, and people were saying, oh, there's me in the photograph, and I mean, I could have got in my stupid
My parents
car.
say they went to one of those shows that Andy was at, but I don't think I ever did.
But I mean, I was so like, I couldn't drive 100 miles. I guess I was satiated enough to just watch it on Saturdays. My curiosity was it was good that I could watch it on and be done with it. But the idea that I could have just come up here and seen it in person and missed it by a year, because I was here the next year. I moved here the next year.
I feel like getting to see the wrestling business up close, because I mean, I've always been a fan of it. And, but getting to really see it up close and backstage and behind the scenes, I've been in the production meetings. I've been, you know, I've been to the puppet show and I've seen the strings, and I've done nothing but grow to respect it even more.
What do you think about this idea, combining the Memphis Symphony with wrestling?
Oh, well, okay. I have pitched this idea so many times to so many people.
That idea?
Yeah. Literally. There is a great clip of Jeff Jarrett and Dutch Mantell in Texas, and they're doing a wrestling match with the symphony. And it's just the percussion section, I think. But they're doing all these huge, like, big percussive booms and rhythmic things, like, during the match. It's amazing. And it was, like, sponsored by the local symphony. And I pitched this idea to Crosstown Arts. I pitched this idea. Me and Alex Green were going to co-write the music together to do this. Like,
Kirksey could be involved in it.
But then Crosstown Arts, whatever happened with the person we were talking to at Crosstown Arts, became no longer there, and
seems to be a trend.
And the whole thing just crumbled.
Symphonies, SmackDown, or
Symphony. I think that would be an amazing idea, and I think that I pitched it to Dustin. I think Memphis Wrestling would be more than happy to participate if we could get the venue and the symphony to participate.
Well, how big does the symphony have to be?
Oh, I mean, I think
it doesn't have to be the whole symphony.
We were just going to do like it was the
string
Blue
quartet,
the Blue Shift Ensemble or something like that. I think it was just going to be one of those things. But I mean, that would be more than enough.
Well, I'm just saying, Kirksey's been playing cello with the symphony forever. He could be a great connection.
We just need money.
Money?
Yeah, we just need money. Wrestling is expensive. Writing original music is expensive. Rehearsing it is expensive. Yes.
Pre-sell the tickets.
That's great. But I mean, whoever writes this music needs to start writing it probably before the tickets go on sale.
Wait a minute. Why can't you use existing classical music?
I mean, I guess we could.
What's your idea on the music?
My idea would be to mix, like, to do interpretations that kind of incorporate some of the themes that, like, all these wrestlers already have their own theme music. Yeah. So maybe we could incorporate some of their pre-existing theme music, but in an orchestral, or
you mean for their coming out intros,
and then score new original music for during the match itself. That was the idea.
You can't have classically stringed music be spontaneous, can you?
Well, I mean, can I break something to you? Wrestling is predetermined.
I know, but does that mean classical music has to be?
Well, it doesn't. I mean, it could be as improvisational as the match is.
That's what I'm saying.
In other words, it could be in a very spontaneous, thing, but there would have to be some elements pre-planned and worked out. There would have to be some planning.
Yes.
When I go to this, you play this.
Well, no, to me, the only question mark is it's not money or anything like that. It's how does the music fit with the violence? Because it's obviously counter-opposed to each other. Unless you're talking Warner Brother cartoons, right? That's the only.
That's kind of what the match that I was. They sort of did Warner Brothers sound effects in real time.
I mean, that's the only other reference I have to classical music and violence, other than maybe Clockwork Orange stuff.
No, I mean, I think we would be trying to do like cool, non-traditional wrestling music. The idea would be to be challenging to both genres.
That's crazy.
How
long would it go?
A few matches.
An hour?
At most, probably an hour and a half or something,
Seems like that could get a lot of attention.
I think it would. I thought it was a great idea. I've had a lot of what I thought were really good ideas. Let me tell you.
Oh, wait, there's more?
I mean, they just don't always come to fruition, and, that sucks. But
like what? What else you got going on? Or you want to have going on? I mean, I have screenplays I want to write and things like that, which just take time. It's not like they're collaborative ideas.
Well, I mean,
you're talking about
everything I've ever done, I had higher hopes for. I mean, whether it's my solo records or Two-Way Radio and $5 cover, or that Subteens record that we listened to, I think that's a genius. I think it's a great record. It's some of the best songs they ever wrote. No one cared. I find that deeply frustrating, but it's not for me to decide.
It doesn't matter that no one cared. I'm talking about just
not no one, but you know what I mean.
No, but I'm saying the only people that we should really be worried about are the gatekeepers, or the people that maybe you don't know that would love for this to happen. How do you get to those people? How do you get around certain people to get to certain people? That's the only thing that really matters, is patronage and support. And if nobody, that's my take on things. If I put on a show or something and nobody shows up, it's documented, it's history, it's part of my therapy. I don't go to a therapist, I do art. So there was a period where I thought it would be cool to eliminate the audience altogether, because that's really the problem, isn't it?
Kind of. I mean, I used to see my art as therapy, honestly. And I mean, everything that I've ever put out. Only my hypothetical art is non-therapeutic at this point.
Say that again now?
Only my future art,
mm-hmm. Future art.
Because I would even say Back to the Light has been pretty therapeutic for me to do since I started it. But, a lot of this stuff here, this list of a lot of that stuff is just so personal. And, as me working out, a lot of, stuff that goes back to my childhood.
That's all I really care to talk to anyone about.
Yeah.
Honestly. You've been pretty upfront about that.
I think that it's been a bummer. I think I've bummed people out, and I don't know where that Canadian out just came from, but
up north.
Yeah. Up north. But yeah, I honestly think that I've bummed people out. I think that if my music had been more fun or something, I think maybe it would have been more successful. I really do.
I don't know what to say.
Or if I'd had a more fun persona. I think I just took myself dreadfully seriously, and there were times when I wasn't having fun on stage because I was like reliving this misery of my own music on stage.
Well,
I just think that
But you don't have that line. You don't have that line right here in the middle of your.
I didn't have enough fun.
Right. I can relate to that, because I grimace a lot because I'm waiting for something to go wrong, because I masterminded and control freaked everything. And if something does go wrong, it's on me. And but then I find out that I'm the one who's screwing everything up.
Yeah, one of the last straws for me was at one of the last shows the band played. I hurt myself pretty bad. I sometimes have been known when I play music to go crazy. I jump around and spontaneously whatever happens. I've almost probably destroyed my gear, just from thrashing about. So anyway, but this last time I really hurt my hip. Like, I injured myself pretty severely,
mm-hmm.
and couldn't walk for almost a week, and it was really bad. And I thought, like, what? Why?
And you were sober.
Why? Yeah, and I was sober, which made it even more senseless. I just couldn't. Why did I do this to myself? Like, why am I not why do I feel the need to hurt myself for the spectacle of it, or for the entertainment of others? and speaking of pro wrestling,
right.
And I didn't have an answer, I don't know, it bummed me out. And, the band played another show or two after that, and I played another solo show or so after that. But yeah, I don't know. I've had a really weird relationship to my musical career.
I think
I'm still I'm trying to figure out what it means to me still. And what it could, if it could be a thing again in the future, I really don't know. I do know that there's like half of the songs on this list that we're talking about that I don't ever want to play again.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
Well, you've recorded them and they're on a vinyl record, so maybe you don't have to play them again.
Yeah, but that's not what bands do. Especially the more successful you get, the more you have to relive your shit that people remember.
I don't think that matters anymore.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. I think it's a constant conversation that you have with yourself between nature and nurture. And to hear you talk about your father so much, and
you brought it up,
and how your mom, well, Ross brought it up too. Can't even have a prank call without your father coming up.
Can't do anything.
No, I just said nature nurture really confounds me, because I'm adopted, and of course that's all out there in a book and my movies, and it's sort of like the orphan syndrome and fish out of water, and which are classic tropes in writing screenplays as well. And whether I make the movie or not is almost a foregone conclusion that I'm not going to, but I still write the screenplay. And it's like putting out the record means that somebody, God knows how many years from now, they're not going to know your grimace or your furrowed brow. They're just going to listen to the music. Well, of course, you've left a million podcasts behind, but
yeah, I've ruined it now.
You've ruined it with the podcast.
Spoiler alert.
Well, so throughout this entire album, where wasn't I? My favorite songs on here are the ones where the lead guitar just crunches and cuts through and adds this embellishment and creates an arrangement that otherwise, sometimes and this is not just this record, but in any record that I hear, I don't feel like bands put enough time into arrangements, like push-pull, which is like nature-nurture, which is like dynamics, which I love dynamics in filmmaking and cartooning, and I want to hear them in music.
Sure.
And so I'm looking for dynamics here more so than I'm looking for like, what are you singing about or who's playing on this? I just want to have a clean experience with my mind being tricked into thinking I know what I'm listening to, and then you surprise me. And the electric guitar on here surprises me from time to time, and those are my favorite songs. But I've only been listening to them for a few days, so I don't know exactly even know. Could we point to one? I know we played one that Steve, New Friend.
Yeah, Steve plays the solo on the end of that.
And you couldn't get a better person to virtuoso yourself into arrangements that are more sonic than they are stop-start or anything like that. You know? Do you have another tune where the lead guitar means a lot or means everything?
The lead guitar means a lot. That's a good question. I think that the one that's about Bob, the lead guitar by Big Dave Ketching, is pretty meaningful.
Which song is that?
It's called Not Trying to Start Something.
Okay.
But also my favorite song on the record is called Hate This. And I don't know if it's lead guitar, but it's a very guitar and noisy guitar dominant song. I love both of those songs. You can play either one or both. It doesn't matter.
Well, maybe we'll go out on Not Trying to Start Something, but we could play Hate This now.
Sure.
That was Hate This. But why is it called Hate This?
Because that's the hook of the song, really. The chorus is you wanna hate me, hate this.
There you go again.
Yeah.
And that has sonic guitar crunch on it.
Yes, it does. It has lots of noise guitar. I'm a huge fan of noise guitar.
Well, yeah, and going back to the Modifiers, it reminds me of the hardcore days too. And some of these tunes also have that kind of intent to them, which is just bowl you over type stuff. It's an anger, I guess.
Yeah,
maybe not.
There's more. There's some angry stuff on this record. There's what's the song here? Stop Staring. That's a pretty angry. That's about my old boss in Chicago. I hated that motherfucker.
Yeah.
I hated that motherfucker. God.
Stop Staring?
Yeah.
Should we play that now?
Yeah, we can. We can dedicate that to Skip.
Oh, Lord. No last names, please.
That's a fake name, too.
Oh.
That's a humorously changed fake name. Anyone who knows who I'm talking about will instantly know when I say that I'm talking about Skip.
Okay, so Reckless Records, Chicago.
Yeah.
A growing feeling in your gut that you've got to get back to down south. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I had high hopes for that job when I first got it.
What was it?
Just a record store job. Nothing special. Record store clerk, helping customers and filing records and stuff.
Well, you were there, though, initially because of your wife?
Yeah, I got the job. Jennifer got hired by the Art Institute of Chicago.
Dang.
And so we moved to Chicago. And after a few months of looking around, and, you know, I think I put in one or two other applications, but I got hired at Reckless Records. And I mean, let's be honest, I had a mostly good time. This record would not have been made if it weren't for Reckless Records. There are some very valuable contributors to this record that I would have never met had it not been for that place. So that I do have gratitude.
Okay.
However, there was one boss there who was, and probably still is, a abomination of a human being and made my life a living nightmare.
So Reckless Records was a shop, not a label.
No, not a label. There are 3 of them in Chicago.
Okay.
Yeah.
A chain, a local chain.
And there's one in London, actually.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe they should ship him off over there.
And I hope the Reckless Records algorithm is probably going nuts when this comes out.
Well, if 7 or 8 people can drive that, you're going to share this everywhere. So this is going to be a big bump for us, Dennis. This is good. This is what we've needed.
You think that now.
I'll think it later.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
Well, let's see if Skip comes looking for us.
Yeah.
Well, Skip Town. That's the key. Well, so is this some sort of high fidelity gone wrong thing? Or?
Totally. I mean, in fact, Reckless Records is the store that primarily influenced the Chicago version of High Fidelity.
Okay.
You know, and I met the guy at not the store I worked at for the most part. I worked at the one by Wrigley Field, but there was another store in Wicker Park. Do you know from the movie High Fidelity, the character Dick, the mousy guy with glasses, the bald guy? He is based on a real life clerk person that I worked with at the Wicker Park store, whose name is not Dick, but in almost every other way has the same mannerisms. And I'm told that the actor who played Dick in the movie came to Reckless Records and shadowed this person for a few days so that he could absorb his mannerisms.
Wow.
My favorite scene with Dick is when he gets the air conditioner out of the... And Tim Robbins, he's... Wham!
Yeah.
Then he
right on the head.
A cold sweat, you know.
Before I met this person, who's the sweetest person in the world, and I love him to death, I was told, you know, like privately, I was like, yeah, that's the guy that they based Dick on. Like, and then, like, as soon as I met him, I was like, oh my God, it totally is. Chris Columbus worked there, the guy from Ministry and Revolting Cocks. He was like a manager at Reckless. He quit, like, I think right before I joined. So,
wow.
There was a lot going. Reckless is a very, you know, cool, important store.
Well, how long were you in Chicago?
Almost 5 years. We were there from 2017. We came back in 2022.
Oh, I didn't know you were there that long.
Yeah. I was flying back a lot at the time, coming back to do shows and podcast stuff. And, you know, it was really hard. Doing that kind of stuff in Chicago just never really materialized beyond doing it in my basement.
Why not?
I couldn't tell you. Chicago is a really gatekeepy kind of a town. You know, in Memphis, when someone new moves to town, like, you know, I don't know, Seth Moody, for example.
I'll have him on the podcast.
Yeah. We welcome them with open arms. And we give them the keys to the kingdom. We say, hey, these are all the cool people you need to talk to. This is the cool club. You know, we help you.
I'd like to think that.
Chicago is not like that.
Well, in an underground way, we do.
Chicago is not like that at all. It's very much like, oh, you got to protect your own shit. You got to keep, you got to, you know, you got to live here for 4 years before you can even call yourself a Chicagoan. You got to pay your dues.
My son's in Chicago tonight.
It's an extremely gatekeepy sort of town. And, I don't know. I mean, I had a band there that I liked, but, you know, I could only get myself a handful of gigs in the 5 years I was there. And I don't know. It was just really frustrating. And I was tired of being frustrated.
Well, let me ask you this.
And the Art Institute no longer cared if Jen was there or was in Memphis. So we just came back.
Well, you know, being in a place like Chicago, you learn this thing about, just like Manhattan or New York in general, it's like it's a cluster of neighborhoods. So Chicago in itself is maybe the downtown area, but then all the other neighborhoods define its strengths. And so, and I was going there a lot in 97, 98. My friend Wheat lived there on the south side, and he lived in a warehouse on Damon. And I would stay with him a lot and saw a lot of like just kids getting into trouble, little kids getting into trouble and stuff, but that was the affordable place for artists to live. And that's where we were. And so I sort of got my image of the neighborhood thing. But were you going between neighborhoods, or were you like locked into a neighborhood? Or
I was going between neighborhoods because we lived in different neighborhoods from where we worked.
But like, was there a club scene in one, or a punk rock bar or something in one neighborhood, and your band was coming from other neighborhoods? And
we never really. I guess.
I just wonder if that has something to do with the psychology of it. It's like
I do think that thing. Chicago is very difficult because it's so spread out and it takes so long to get anywhere, and there's nowhere to park, and there's nowhere to being in a band is so much harder there, just because especially I couldn't imagine trying to be a drummer there. Where
right,
how the hell would you do that? Because when you get to the club, there's nowhere to park.
Did you read? There's
nowhere to park anywhere close. What the hell are you supposed to do with a drum set?
Did you read the Tune In Turn On Mark Lewisham book on the Beatles, where Ringo talks about what he had to do to haul his drums through a teddy boy ridden district of London?
Oh Jesus, no! that sounds funny.
He would go from like alley to alley, taking a snare, the kick drum, the tom, piece at a time, stashing them in the dark until he could get to a bus that would take him somewhere, and then he would succeed. And this was more Liverpool, I think, maybe than London. London, they had a little more money to get around, but that reminded me of that.
Yeah, Chicago's difficult. That's all I can tell you.
So is Memphis. It
is in a way. It's difficult to get people to care, but if you just fundamentally want to do something, no one in Memphis is going to stop you. You can book a show, no one's going to stop you. If you have a crazy idea like wrestling in the symphony or whatever, you may not be able to get the money for it, but if you want to do it, no one's going to stop you. And that's the difference to me, is that Chicago is it was much harder to get to the point where you could operate and do things. I didn't want to wait until I developed enough of a reputation to be able to do the things that I can do in Memphis. I just wanted to do those things. Right. I don't care. Right. I just want to do stuff
with normal obstacles.
Yes, with for better or worse. I've never had any experience in the wrestling business whatsoever. Whatsoever. But I moved back to Memphis and randomly ran into Dustin Starr at a thing, and before I knew it, I was if you want to get involved in something in Memphis, you can, and it's much, much harder. I guarantee you my path to becoming a ring photographer in Chicago would have taken me way longer.
Yeah. Well, and also, as far as the lack of I think, American culture in this new century, because it's more of an international market for music and everything else, if the powers that be had just concentrated or come back to Memphis like they did when Elvis was discovered and rockabilly was the thing that became rock and roll, I think Memphis kind of has the answer to everything in the pop culture world. It just has to come out of the underground, and that's what we're still doing. It's real.
But you can't manufacture that, and that's been the problem with everyone.
No, but you can pull those people out of obscurity, like you or Jack or Seth Moody or whoever you're talking about.
And that'd be great if someone did that.
But it's okay for it not to happen. And that's the thing I've had to come to terms with.
Yeah.
Like you were saying earlier, it's okay that you're not successful as somebody else defines it. It's just a thing of, I'd like to hold on to my house. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I feel that. Thank goodness that, I have a partner who is more stably employed than I am. And, thank God for that. Mm-hmm. Because I have good months and I have bad months.
That's true. And how I've held on to my house. I always think about almost everybody I can think of that I know as a friend in Memphis has lived in at least more than 1, 2, 3 places. I've lived in the same place in Cooper Young for 26 years, because I know that if I ever do something like move away or sell my house, I'll be screwed. I'll never have anybody loan me the money to buy a house again or anything out. So in a way, I'm locked here. So I have to find, I wonder sometimes, justifiable reasons to be here because, you know, you have your wins and your losses, and every corner of every angle of Midtown, once you've lived here since, like I have, you more so than me, I've lived here since 84, has a memory. I've lived here
since 79.
Well, since has a memory connected with it. So you're also up against ghosts.
Yeah.
Which are mostly good.
That was honestly a lot of why I had to leave, is that I had to get away from the ghosts for a while.
From the ghosts on the corners?
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Like how did that manifest itself in your mind?
I mean, that's tough to answer. I mean, it was just one of those things where every place I went was associated with a bad memory.
A bad memory?
Yeah, in Memphis.
Every place?
Just about. And
was that your coloring of it?
Of course.
Okay.
I had to take a break from Memphis, like to rediscover my love for Memphis, and also to learn that the grass wasn't greener.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It took getting away to really appreciate. I mean, of course, Memphis is still deeply flawed and deeply frustrating place to live, but for me, you know, I'm able to operate here, and I'm able to hustle a living better. You know, I don't have to have a terrible day job that I hate here.
Mm-hmm.
That's the benefit of Memphis.
Wow. Okay. So what was that other song we were going to go out on?
I don't know if it's it's a cool song.
Not trying to start something?
Yeah.
In Memphis?
That was about me trying to get Bob to get healthy and take care of himself. And
that seems like a losing battle.
Which always turned into an argument.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was never trying to start something. But you have to tell the truth sometimes.
What would he say to you? Is that in the song?
No, not really. I mean, I remember one time, like, he had a staph infection, and me just trying to convince him to stop drinking long enough to get through his cycle of antibiotics so that his staph infection would go away was like it was something. It took effort to get him to not drink for that long.
Were the Modifiers like your uncles?
Sort of. Bob, I mean, my father, and let's bring things full circle, hated how much I loved Bob and that I preferred Bob to him.
So you're around him a lot.
Yeah. Enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was my hero as a kid. Like, he was my, Bob was like, he was always coming back from California, He was like, oh, I just got back from California.
Yeah.
And I just got, we just played a show at a strip club with John Dinsmore.
Right.
You're 10 years old. That sounds like the coolest fucking thing you've ever heard in your life.
And he's not around enough to spoil the memory.
Well, yeah. I mean, which he would go on. He would live long enough to do that. Thank goodness.
Well, do you feel with the staph infection? Yeah. Do you feel like it's landed in your lap to be the guy who makes sure that everyone remembers the Modifiers?
Yes, and it's been deeply frustrating and painful, and I mean, it's another one of those things I've just sort of had to let go, because there's only so much you can push a rock up against a hill and have people tell you to talk to Goner.
Now I hear that Black and Wyatt turned you down.
They did. Black and Wyatt did turn down the Modifiers.
Dennis? Did you hear the record?
I think
6 songs.
I think it was. I mean, I didn't send him those.
Oh, really?
Exact 6 songs.
Oh, okay.
I probably sent him even more than that. I'm not sure. Maybe some of that was probably in what I sent him, but maybe not exactly that.
Okay.
Because I have so much. But yeah, I was very politely told to maybe think about talking to Goner.
Well, why?
Which is what everyone said.
Well, why? Back to
Marvin Stockwell said it to me on the phone yesterday.
Oh, Lord.
He was like, why didn't you ever talk to God? I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, Marvin.
Well, back to the lights. Can't put it out?
It could.
Mm-hmm.
I could put it out. And I'm probably just going to do that.
And by that, I mean an artifact.
I'm probably just going to put it. Record. Oh, yeah. I mean, no, I don't have the money to put out I'm not going to pay,
Are you familiar with the new low print run prices at MRP?
Yeah, I'm hip.
Dennis, do you?
Yeah, I was going to say, when did you come to us about it?
It would have been before. I think it was before I moved to Chicago. Honestly, I spent about 2 years obsessively collecting and reaching out to people who had Modifiers tapes, and people mailed me tapes from all over the country. And, Jim Duckworth gave me like all the tapes that he had in a shoebox in a garage somewhere. And like I digitized as much of it as I possibly could of what sounded worth keeping. And I approached you guys, I approached Goner, I approached what's that label in Seattle that puts out some Light in the Attic? They told me have you thought about Goner? I swear to God. The label in Chicago, and I'm not trying to make you feel bad in any way, shape, or form, because like I sort of get it. On one hand, it's probably like a lot. It's a big project that probably needs, a fair amount of wrangling or something, which I would do most of. But
have you thought about Back to the Light?
What to answer your question honestly, I've been thinking, because occasionally people do still ask me like, where can I find that Modifier stuff? I mean, I guess I just sort of hoped that between the fact that I have recordings with like John Dinsmore from The Doors on them and Derf Scratch from Fear on them, and the guys from that, do you know the band The Suburban Lawns? They were like a big new wave band in the 80s in California. I've got stuff with them on it. I've got lots of stuff with Big Dave on it. From Eagles of Death Metal and
right.
And,
were those on the
Queens
songs
of the Stone Age?
Were those the songs you sent me?
Yeah, there's some stuff with Big Dave on it. I think he's on Bust Your Face.
Who has ownership? Publishing?
Bob and Milford co-wrote all the original Modifier songs as a unit, and I mean both of them unfortunately are dead. But I mean, I've been in contact with Jean Thompson, who's Milford's sister, and I'm in contact with Bob's brother. But
is Ross on some of the stuff you sent me?
I don't know if Ross is on the stuff that I don't think he's on anything that I would have sent you, or I don't think he actually recorded with the band. If Ross is on anything, it's from like a live, like a board tape or something.
Some of these songs, and I'm sorry I can't single them out, have a very demo feel to them.
Yeah.
Like the drums are not even mic'd in some classic way.
Yeah,
standard
some
way.
of it's 4-track recording. Some of it is literally just a jam box in the room.
Yeah.
Some of it is like a line out from a PA, at a gig, and some of it is in a studio.
So
some of it is also was in a studio and sounded great at one time, but the copy that I got was like a copy of a copy of a copy, and that's the best we have.
And you have photos too, tons of photos.
I do have photos, and I have tons of flyers and stuff like that. Yeah.
So, is Robbie Krieger on any of this stuff too, or is it just Dinsmore?
It's just Dinsmore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when those guys were going out to California, they weren't wasting time. They were actually trying to make connections.
Yeah. I mean, they thought they were going to make it. They were in a movie. The Modifiers were in a movie called Dubidio.
Okay.
Which is a ridiculous movie to look up, but yeah. I mean, they thought they had Derf Scratch from Fear and John Dinsmore in the band.
I noticed Fear's back on the road now.
Yeah.
Well, it's cool. I mean, the liner notes would be fantastic. Photos, you could have like a total show.
Yeah,
opening.
I mean, Chilton is a former Modifier also.
Is he on the recordings?
We do have. There is a recording of Alex Chilton of a show that he played, but it sounds so bad that I would hesitate to put it out just because like it sounds disappointingly horrible. Like it's like you think that you're gonna be like, oh yeah. It's going to be rough. Okay.
Disappointing.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Let's go ahead and listen to it. And then you're like, oh God, that really sounds bad.
Was that the antenna?
I think it was even worse. I think it was like in some banquet hall or something.
The antenna had a great sound.
Yeah. And it's also them covering like the Ballad of Mr. Green Jeans or something terrible. Like it's really not, I don't think it's worth, I mean, we can have this conversation.
Sure.
Jim Duckworth owns the tape. Technically, and we could maybe try to digitize it again, see if we can make it sound better. We have all the original demos, and then also before Bob died, me and Terrence and Bubba took Bob into the studio, into high-low recording, and re-recorded 10 songs in the studio with Bob singing. And I think some of those things are worth releasing too.
So none of the stuff that we're talking about has ever had an official release.
The only official Modifiers release that has ever been is a 2-sided single that was released with Dinsmore and Derf Scratch in the band. It was for Rowena Rowena might have been it doesn't matter which side it was on.
I remember
one side was Rowena and the B-side was a Derf Scratch song called Goodbye, Good Riddance, and Good Luck. And they were both kind of country punk.
And you talked about those in the Antenna doc, or?
Yeah, I guess I did. I probably did.
I think so, yeah.
I sat next to Bob while he talked about it anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
And that was another chance to have exposure to you, and I knew, you're really connected. Your family and plugged in that
I thought
way.
it was. I did kind of secretly think it was kind of cool to have me like presented on the with all these like godfathers of Memphis punk, and then I got kind of snuck in there too.
Right.
I will admit I did think that was cool.
Well, all right. So let's go out on something. I don't know if you want to play Modifiers, but we were talking about playing.
We could play Not Trying to Start Something.
That's exactly
that's
right.
Fine. It's inspired by Bob, and it's about the Modifiers a little bit. And not only does it have former Modifier Dave Catching playing lead guitar on it, which would have been his role in the Modifiers too, but he told me after the fact that he played on that song, which is about Bob, one of Bob's old guitars. Tell
us where we can find more of your product. I know you're not pushing nothing, but you got Back to the Light.
I mean, I will have a new episode of the podcast out next week with producer Fred Mullen, and you can find that at backtothelight.net or anywhere that you listen to podcasts. It's on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Amazon. It's there. And then my music is also at backtothelight.net. If you go, there's like a little music tab you can go to, or you can just go to Bandcamp, jdreager.bandcamp.com. You can go there. All my 3 solo records are there.
All right, we're going to go out with Not Trying to Start Something. Thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. This is a lot of fun.